All right, good morning, evening, afternoon, whatever time it is you're accessing this video. In this video, I will be going over how to use MS Word to format your lab report. How to make it will if you watch this, and I'm hoping you will watch this and follow the instructions, maybe practice along, this will make your lab report so much easier to format. Okay, so what I did here was I got 3 random paragraphs from the web and I pasted it into a Word document. Let's begin. Let's talk about making a table of contents. So let's say I have okay, in the lab report, you're going to have an objective. And you're going to have a synopsis. You're going to have calculations. These are just 3 of the categories. All right. Let's just go over it. Let's do all the categories. After the calculations, you're going to have conclusion. Capitalize that. Oops. All right. Appendix and bibliography. Okay. So you're going to need to make a table of contents. Let's go over doing that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight all my topics here. If I press Control, I can do more than one at a time. So I'm going to highlight all the categories I want in my table of contents. All right. And what I'm going to do then, and I'm going to choose heading 1 for all of them. So I did that. And as you can see, it makes the text large and blue. All right, so now I'm on my way to making my automatic table of contents. Since we are just doing virtual reports and we don't have to worry about our consumption of paper products, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and use that extra page. So right here, I'm going to put my cursor right at the top. As you can see, it's right here. I'm going to insert page break. Okay, and that'll give me a whole new page right here. Then I'm going to put my cursor right there. I'm going to go to references, table of contents. And I'm here are your automatic tables. I'm going to choose, I'll just choose this guy. And as you can see, we have everything we highlighted is a category in our table of contents. It's very easy to do. So now we have just made our table of contents. Let's say I made my table of contents and I forgot to include something. All right. So let's say I have another category and we're going to call it forgotten category. Oops. All right, and it was something I forgot. Let's say it was you forgot to put your calculations in there. You can highlight this and once again go to home heading 1. All right, so now I have my forgotten category. I'm going to go back to my table of contents here, click on it, update table, update entire table, and voila, we have our forgotten category in our table. So you don't have to go through a lot of changes in order to update your table. It does it automatically. It's lovely. All right. That is how to create a table of contents. You are going to also need to create a table of figures and equations. But first of all, let's discuss how we put in an equation. The equations or formulas that you're going to insert are the ones you're using in your lab report. And you're going to talk about them in your synopsis. So they're going to go directly, you're going to introduce the formula directly after the text that first talks about it, just like they do in the physics book. So I know this doesn't talk about it, but let's say I had a formula such as scrambling and I wanted to put my formula in right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my cursor there and I'm going to get a dedicated line right there. So I want to put my formula in there. So how to do that? You're going to press insert table and you're going to have 3 columns, 1 row. All right. Oops. There. All right. Now I've got 3 columns, 1 row. And this is how I need this to make sure my formatting remains consistent if I change some of the text. All right, so now this left-hand column is not going to be used for anything. It just is there to make my layout look pretty, if you will. Okay, so I'm going to go to File. Oops. I want to go to Home. I put my cursor in the second one. Now I'm going to center justify there. Actually, I choose to center justify. I think you probably don't have to do that. I think this next function will automatically justify in the center, but I'm just doing it for completeness. So I'm going to go to Insert Equation. All right, so here I am. All right, so here are your symbols, and you can do this and you get them all. So I'm going to choose row equals, and then here are your, oops, insert equation. All right, so. Okay, and then here are your functions. So you've got, if you press on these fraction, you see you have all these different options, or script. You have all the different options here. That would be a exponent, and this would be a subscript. So you have, this would be a variable with an exponent and a subscript. So it's all here. Just explore this a bit. So I'm going to use fraction. I'm going to row equals this, and I'm going to say M mass divided by volume. All right. So now I have my fraction in there. Now you're going to have to number your equation. So that will go in this column, and you want to write justify right there. So this is number 1, just like they do in the physics books. And there you have it. Now, also you're going to want to, oops, Control V. I don't want to make my table any bigger. I want to do this. Put the cursor there, and I'm going to insert, I'm sorry, references, insert caption. And it's not a figure, it's going to be an equation. So equation 1, in the caption, I'm going to put a dash there, and I'm going to say density equation, comma, where M equals mass and, oops, and capital V, there's case specific equals volume. All right, so I'm not going to say equals. I'm going to say M is. Oops. All right. And I'm going to say okay. And it's going to make it really cute like that. So now I'm going to, now once I have that, I'm going to right click on my table. I'm going to say table properties, borders and shading. I'm going to choose none. And say okay, okay. And voila, we have it looking just like the physics books. All right. So now that we have that, I'm going to save my file here. Just, let's say desktop, and we're going to call this demo. All right. I like to save it periodically just in case something happens. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my table of contents. And I'm going to put my cursor here. And I'm going to say, I'm in references, insert table of figures. Okay. And say, okay. So now I have my list of equations, and you're going to want to do that. So we're getting there. So you have a table of contents, and in the table of contents, you're going to want to have a table of equations, a list of equations, and a list of figures. So this is very lovely. All right. Now, let's say I want to put in an illustration in my synopsis. Okay, let's say I'm going to put it right here. Once again, I'm going to talk about something and then I'm going to have an illustration here. So same deal. I'm going to put this there. And now I'm going to go to the internet and just get a random picture. Let me just save image as, put it on my desktop, save. All right. Go back to Word. All right, and I want to insert that. Insert. Where is insert? Picture right here. From this device. Go to my desktop. There we go. All right, here we are. Insert. And they should take up about 1/8 of the page. So that size looks pretty nice. All right, then I'm going to put my cursor underneath again, and I'm going to go to references. I'm going to insert cite caption. Insert caption. And it's not an equation. In this case, it's going to be a figure. So it's going to be figure 1. Let's say climbers on a mountain. Okay. And I'm going to say, okay. And now I've got to, since I stole this from the internet, I've got to cite it. So let's go back here. I'm going to copy this. All right. If you take any, I didn't steal it, I borrowed it from the internet. If you use anybody else's work, you have to give them credit. So we're going to go references, insert citation here, add new source, and it's going to be a website. Author is Wikipedia. Wikipedia. And I'm going to put the, wait, is there a URL? I'm going to put the URL here. Paste. Okay. You can fill in all this year. Let's say 2021. Month is August. Day is 17. All right. I should have put that in year. Well, you get the picture, right, you guys? So I don't know. This must be for the year of the article. Year accessed. 2021. August. All right, and day accessed is the 17th. All right, so now we are all good to go. All right, so now we have our citation. So we've learned how to put an equation in, how to make our table of contents, and how to cite something. All right, now I need to go up to my table of contents and update it again because I'm going to have a list of figures now. All right, so I will put my cursor here. I will say insert table of figures. And now this is actually going to be a figure and say, okay. So now we have, so this is perfect. We have our table of contents with our categories, our equation, list of equations, and list of figures. And as you add more equations, you can update them in a similar manner that I showed you to updating the actual table of contents. All right. So this is looking good. Right here, let's go insert page break. And now we have oh, no, let me remove this. No, I didn't want that there. Okay, why is this here? Can I right click and delete it? Edit header. Header. Remove header. It's not removing. Anyway, this is where you're going to do your title page. Wow, why do I have headers and footers in there? Remove footer. And it's not coming out. Close header and footer. There we go. All right. Wow. All right. Well, don't do what I did. Somehow I got that on there and I don't know how to get it off. Let's see. Go back. All right. Home. Okay. So header. Remove header. There we go. All right. So the header's removed. And I don't know how to get this out now. Perhaps you should put in the double pages before you do your table of contents. But let me go ahead and show you how to make your, all right, so now you're going to do a bibliography. So let's put your cursor here. So we're going to do insert page break. And that'll put you here on a new page you want your bibliography to be last. So you're going to go to references. I probably need to take that out. Bibliography. And there you go. And that automatically creates your bibliography with the sources that you have put inside your text or your contents. So now at this end, you can update this in a similar manner. For example, let's see, let me just show you how to do that. Let's say I just got, I took some text from some source and I wanted to cite it. So here I go, I put my cursor there, insert citation, add new source, and let's just say it's a book section, for example. Let's see, Desiree Rose, title, rock climbing, and author is year 2021, pages of 12 through 31, city is Atlanta, publisher is my mom. All right, just say okay. All right, so now we have that. And we will scroll back to our bibliography and update. There you go. All right, so this is how you use MS Word to format your lab reports. All right, now let's talk about what goes in them. Okay. All right, rubric. All right, here you go. You are going to have a guidelines for physics lab write-up, title page with your name, the name of the experiment, and the date that it was performed, or the date that you accessed it. If you don't actually, if it's online, the date that you watched the video and accessed the data. Table of contents. So similar to what I showed you, you will have your main contents, a list of figures, a list of equations. Objective. The objective is a couple sentences of just what you're trying to do. What is your objective? What are you trying to prove or verify? So in these equations, in these labs, we'll either be verifying some mathematical principle of physics, or we will be calculating some term in physics, some kind of variable in two different manners, and then comparing our results. So this is what we will be doing in most of these experiments. All right, your synopsis should be at least 3 paragraphs. This is going to be a detailed summary of the experiment. You're going to include all the formulas you used, and you're going to explain them. Don't just list the formulas. These lab reports should be pretty much written so the layman can understand what you're doing. So make sure that they're very clear, and you'll be telling a story of the lab here. All right, your calculations come after your synopsis. Here you'll be all the calculations you made, but however, if you do one calculation 5 times, you can just put your best foot forward and put this. If you're doing the same calculation 5 times, just put the best one there. All right, and make sure you explain them, like once again, so the layman can understand them. Tell your reader what you're doing. Here, I am calculating the velocity, initial velocity of a projectile, for example. Make sure you include units whenever applicable. All values in physics need units if they have units. A few of them will be unitless, but for the most part, most of your calculations will have units. So if you don't include them, it won't make any sense. You must include your units. Also, organize your calculations, your whole report in a logical manner with the first things first. So don't do your last calculation, put that in front of your first calculation. It just doesn't make sense. Organize your report in a logical fashion and have it unfold as the experiment unfolded. Your conclusion should be about a paragraph. It should describe the success of your experiment. And if it was unsuccessful, you will need to offer an explanation. Like, for example, we had too much friction, and this is why we did our value was smaller than the predicted value, or whatever it was, whatever the case may be. Operator error, whatever. Usually, when we're doing these online and I give you the data should be pretty good. So you won't have a huge error. If you do, then you should revisit your calculations. Also in your calculations, you will always have either a percent error or a percent difference calculation. So you will always include one of those in your calculation. The percent error will be for when you are attempting to verify your mathematical prediction. You will have a percent error calculation because you will be comparing that to a known value or a theoretical value. In your percent difference, you will be calculating one value using two different methods, and you will be comparing those to each other. You will have an appendix in which your raw data goes. So all of the data goes into the appendix. And in the bibliography will be your final section, which I've already explained in the prior section of this video, but you must cite your sources. If you don't, it is considered plagiarized. So chances are you have no a priori knowledge of all this stuff. So this section must be populated. It cannot be blank. So that is the rubric. Now let's look at an example of exemplary lab report. What it should, so you'll have something to compare yours to. Okay, this is lab 15. So there's his title page, his name, and the date that he performed this. Here's his table of contents. Very lovely. All the figures are listed, all the figures, the tables. Equation 1, yeah, it should be equations. I guess he did a list of tables, but it looks lovely. Anyway, so here's his objective synopsis. And as you can see, the equations are inserted correctly and numbered. He's got his figures looking very nice. They don't take up a whole page. You need to have them small and unassuming, but large enough so that your reader can see. All right, it's very thorough. He's got his other equations and they've got their caption, so we know what it is. Lens equation, where F is the focal length, P is the objective distance, and Q is the image distance. It's very thorough. The synopsis is long enough to explain the entire experiment. He has his extra credit, thoroughly And now here's his calculations. And they're very, he has the units up here, which is fine too. Sine has no units and n has no units. But yes, so he has the units here and he's just very thorough. They're very, very clear. This is very good. Part 1, part 2. The extra credit, and he goes the extra mile. You guys see how it's highlighted there. All right. The red has red, violet has violet. It's very clear to the reader what he's doing. A conclusion, an appendix, which is very lovely. He's got his data in the appendix and even these drawings that he did. And I believe he forgot his bibliography, but at the time I didn't notice because everything else was so stellar. So don't forget your bibliography. This is just an example of what earns top points. So you can take a look and peruse this and get an idea of what is excellent. That's excellent, except for the missing bibliography, which I should have caught, but I did not. All right, so this concludes this is an orientation on how to use Word to format your lab report, how to write your lab report, the format of your lab report, and also an exemplary lab report. You have any question, please ask me.